here with Dylan Groff, man of the hour.
Yes.
Audio engineer by trade.
Yes.
Husband by day.
Yes. Husband by choice.
Husband by night.
Husband by choice. Audio engineer by force.
By force.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So Dylan was the one who mastered and mixed everything I need. Did an amazing job because I remember sending you this big file, and then what you sent back to me was exactly essentially what we wanted.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the process?
Sure. Well, I mean, the process really started like you and I talking pretty extensively about like what it is you wanted to achieve out of this whole thing, and you know that's really where like you got me on you got me on board with what you wanted to achieve and what your song was about, and like that's really where the process like started. But beyond that, it's like going over the first step is really just like going over everything with a fine-tooth comb and doing like a lot of listening to like what you've recorded and making sure I like have a really clear like understanding of what it is I'm being presented with and what materials I have to work with. And like and then just kind of really it's really just like diving in and trying to like I don't know make like it's hard to like but that's really it. It's like I think just like really trying to like listen carefully and like you know pass it through the prism of like how to move this in the like best and most like minimal way towards like what it is I think Alex is most hoping for.
Cool. Yeah. You nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, also like lots of years of experience doing it. Of like, you get faster at it.
Yeah.
Of like doing that translation. The first song I mixed took me much longer.
Yeah.
And now I kind of like have, not that it's like formulaic, but the distance between like what I think it needs and actually getting there is just like shorter.
Yeah. Wow, that's very cool. I think like thanks for sharing that because like one of the most amazing things personally at least was how so you know sent you all the tracks, sent you know my rough mix like what I had done in our basement, but I think what I was so amazed by was like how close, because we were close, how close that first kind of hit was to like where we are. Like we didn't have to move far.
No, we didn't.
And that's saying something.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I mean it's also I think the picking the right people to work with and like putting that effort in on the front side to like you know make sure that you've like selected the right personnel because you know not everybody, sometimes it's like when you meet your who turns out to be your like partner, you just like meet a person and all of a sudden you hit it off and you're like yep we are on the same wavelength, we speak the same language, and we're able to like communicate in the same way, and you know not sometimes it's just like not the right fit, and this turned out to be like good in that way because we also like I think we have a lot of similarities and we kind of like have a similar like thought process about stuff, so we got to, it's good. I mean you don't always hit it that well, but you know, here we are, we did it.
God, it's good. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. How do you think like because we like joke but like don't joke about like patience and fortitude in a process like this, like how does patience play into what you've done here but also in your trade overall? Patience is sort of the number one virtue more than anything because music and art is inherently very emotional for everyone and everyone involved. Like in making it, you're putting a piece of yourself out there, and that can make people, their actions are then led by their emotions, so the logical side of the brain, and that can be like, in your case, it's like led by a lot of like excitement and drive, and so it like that's pretty easy. That's fun to get like swept up with. Versus like, you know, people who are sometimes instead led by like anxiety and fear, and like that can be a lot more like difficult to pull them along. So I mean like, but that's like part of the gig for me. If you can't, people who do well as working in my profession are able to find that patience and like understanding, and other
and otherwise you just like can't hack it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's even like patience down to like, you know, you send a mix, you receive some feedback, and like even being like patient with just like reading through it and like trying to ingest it and being like, what's the, you know, trying to understand it that's most like, trying to give it the most, even if you don't understand it or you don't think it's valid, trying to just like be as understanding as possible and really like ingest it and say like, okay, how can I give them like most benefit of the doubt and like really try to see it their way and like pretend that they really have a point, even if I don't think they do. Just because like nothing will break down a relationship faster than telling people no and telling them their ideas are not valid.
Right.
And so, just like that's after, if you can like, you know, sometimes it also takes you a while. Like I've definitely had situations where I don't nail it right away, and it's like I am kind of far off the mark, and then I also have to be like patient with that part of the process, and like set aside my like ego of like, I am not the greatest mixer of all time. Are you kidding me?
But you're darn good.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, but you know, so it's all like patience with my clients and like patience with myself, and then also you like get what you give.
Right.
So like sometimes if I don't nail it, or I need more time with something, or like if I've been patient with you, you're more likely to kind of give me that same thing, and then we have like a very fruitful time and pleasant time, and everyone like we had a very pleasant time, and everyone had a great, like I had fun, you had fun, so and that's how you like keep it positive and keep it like productive.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
What's your favorite song?
Oh God, that's I don't know.
After
like
the 4 months we've worked together, I would imagine you knew the answer.
By default. By default? I thought you meant like all time. I'm like, are you saying you're better than the Beatles?
I could be.
Okay. Yeah. So all right. Okay.
I just joking.
We're gonna retake. And we're going to say, hey, there's this guy, Alex Niedra, and he made this song called
Everything I
Need. And it's amazing. It's
What is this?
Yeah, it's called something.
It's called something.
Yeah.
I worked on it.
Yeah, I worked on it.
That's awesome. But like other than that, like
other
in
than that,
second place.
I don't know. I mean, like I think it's more like what is my favorite song at like various junctures in my life. Because like when I was like in my early 20s, I wanted to like, my favorite thing to do was to like go to the punk club and like get in a fist fight.
What did you get into fist fights to?
Like just some like
knock and tone fist fights.
Just some like terrible band playing like bad NoFX covers, or like, and we just like fight, and that was just like just like fun.
Oh man.
And like, so you know, that was like, I was listening to like, you know, like grew up kind of listening to like a lot of punk rock, or like listening to like, I had a whole phase where like all I would listen to is like Metallica and Pantera, like heavy stuff. And then recently I've been just like on a country kick, and I've been just like you know, listening to just like Casey Musgraves over and over again. So it's like more like, but I mean, it sounds cheesy, but like probably like Somebody to Love or something, but like specifically when they played Live Aid. And like it's not, for me it's like a song and then also like a particular recording or performance of said song.
I'm so happy you said that.
Because like you know, watching like Freddie Mercury just like be the greatest frontman of all time is pretty undeniable. And it like even though you're like watching like a broadcast, you know, from like an old kind of like not great looking broadcast from like a, you know, point in time, and like but anyway, it's like pretty undeniable when they like get going.
I love how you mentioned one of your favorite aspects being a live performance, because I love specifically live performances, but more specifically like certain live performances of certain songs. There's just something about it.
Well, there's like an energy that like, you know, I mean, that's like, Live Aid's a bit of a outlier, but you know, watching like a million people jump, or even like, you know, even like some of the clubs I've worked at hold like 2,500 people, and when it's like packed and the lights go up and everyone's just like having a good time, it's like pretty undeniable, that energy that like you get swept along with.
Amazing.
Cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
Thanks for answering all these questions.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thanks for joining the interview.
My pleasure.
Thanks for doing the song.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You're awesome.